John Kohler with DiscountJuicers.com. Today we have another exciting episode for you. In today's episode we're going to compare two Omega juicers. I never had this exact juice off before, but I will say from the get-go that the Omega MMV700 is basically like the C7000 made by Kuvings. They're both wide feed chute juicers and they're made in the same factory, and that's all I will reveal about that. That being said, these are two very different juicers, right? One is a vertical single auger juicer and one is a horizontal single auger juicer. You know, much like a pair of shoes, each one's a little bit different. You know, a pair of running shoes might be great for going hiking, but a hiking pair of shoes might be better, and that's how these two juicers are, right? Vertical juicers, in my opinion, are a little bit better at juicing fruits than the horizontals. This is especially true if you want to juice them straight up by themselves, right? I don't recommend necessarily a juicer like this for juicing straight fruits. Although you can do it depending on the fruit. That being said, with both these machines, always add some carrots and basically anything will juice fine. Over on this side, the NC800, this machine really excels at juicing greens. So while it doesn't juice fruits that well, if you want to juice greens and wheatgrass and microgreens, this is the machine you guys should get, especially if you want to juice a lot of wheatgrass or microgreens. Don't even consider a vertical. You know, they're going to work on greens and microgreens and wheatgrass, but you should be pre-cutting them for optimal results, and then also mixing them with other ingredients such as carrots. So for more green style, then you're going to want to pick this. Now both these machines will juice the hard vegetables fairly similar, actually. I mean, it's a toss-up which one will win, you know, when juicing hard root vegetables. They're about the same in yield. In general, the auger juicers, whether it's a horizontal auger or a vertical auger, they're not the most efficient at juicing the hard root vegetables. You know, then if you want the most efficient, you probably get a pure juice press, which is a two-stage grinding press, or the Green Star Pro or the Green Star Elite. That style machine is definitely better at handling the root vegetables, get a higher yield and a higher nutritional content. That being said, both these machines are slow juicers. The Omega NC800 runs at 80 RPMs or revolutions per minute, so that's a really slow speed, whereas the MMV700 runs at 60 RPM, so that's a little bit slower than the NC800, but I don't think it makes a significant difference. Let's see, where else got to go with this? Oh, I want to talk about the warranty. So this is both these machines are backed up by Omega. They've been, you know, probably one of the longest operating companies in the United States for selling juicers, and so they're a solid company. That being said, I want you to know that this machine has a 15-year warranty. It's also made in Korea, South Korea, so I like that a lot. The South Korean made machines generally have higher quality. And over on the Omega MMV700, this has a 3-year warranty according to the box, so don't let that fool you. That is a misprint. I've been telling them for years now to correct that, and it should say 10 years on the box. Our website has the accurate information, 10 years. So if you get the MMV, and it does say 3 years on the warranty on the box, don't be alarmed. It is 10 years. You could call Omega and ask them. They will confirm that it is 10 years for sure. So you basically get a 5 extra years on the NC800. This machine also made in South Korea, high quality. Not all Omega juicers are made in South Korea, so I want you guys to be aware of that. And you know, I prefer the machines made in South Korea. I believe them to be a little bit higher quality. All right. So I guess let's go ahead and explain to you guys how these machines work. But before I do, I want to let you guys know that if you appreciate my videos, all my comparisons where I juice the same amount of produce in both machines, explain the machines in detail so you guys get the right juicer for you, I would encourage you guys to support me in my work so I can continue to make these videos and educate people about the power of fruits and vegetables, pay my light bill, my mortgage, and all that stuff. So I appreciate you guys a lot. I'll find the links down below to both these products we sell at DiscountJuicers.com. And I want to let you guys know that, you know, I would encourage you guys to support me at full price, but we do have a price match policy because I don't want to lose your business over, you know, a $5 cheaper price at another website. We will match any authorized dealer's delivered price of the same exact machine, provided it is in stock at the time you're placing your order. And of course, the sale has to be current. Check the link down below to contact me if you guys want to you know, look for a price match. So I guess with that, let's go ahead and continue. This is a horizontal single auger. So what it means is it's horizontally, so the auger is running horizontally. And we'll just go ahead and pull out the auger here. This is the auger, and this is the heart of the NC800. How this works is this basically spins around, and as it's spinning around, the produce goes in, and then it's compressed down into a smaller and smaller space, and it's literally ground up, crushed, and squeezed, and the produce is wrung out. What happens is on the initial input, the produce is squeezed and some of the juice comes out the bottom holes right here. And then as the pulp moves its way down, it gets ground up more juice is extracted, and then it comes out the second stage here. And then finally the pulp comes out the front. On the NC800, you basically have a collar here that you can basically take off, and then you have the whole body that comes out. It's fairly easy to clean. And then you have an end cap that has adjustments. It goes from 0 to 5 on here. So if you put this on, you put it on at 0 and there's a little arrow and you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I don't think they even explain this in the instruction manual. But generally when you're juicing any vegetables or greens or wheatgrass, you want to have it on 5. You know, that will mean you'll get the most back pressure on the pulp as it's working inside the machine, and the machine won't let it out until it's completely dry, or drier, not completely dry. And then if it starts to back up and things start coming up the chute, like if you start juicing fruits, then you may have to loosen this to, you know, 3 or 2 or maybe even like 1 to remove some of the back pressure. If you're juicing lots of fruits, then you might even want to remove this or just keep it on 1 to provide minimal back pressure so that you don't get any jamming inside the machine while you're juicing. To assemble this machine is really easy. You're just going to go ahead and put the drum on, and you could open and close right here. And then you're going to put the auger in. Don't be alarmed when this auger goes in and it shakes a little bit, right? Even when you turn the machine on, the machine might have a little gyration and movement. This is completely normal. You're going to put the screen in with the screen facing down, slide that back in, and you're going to turn this piece on, lock it into place, and put that all the way to 5. If you've assembled it correctly, the machine should turn on, and that's what it sounds like. It's fairly quiet. So once again, as I said, this machine definitely the best at wheatgrass, leafy greens, microgreens, also juices fruits in combination with those items as well as the root vegetables. Over here, MMV700. This is a vertical single auger juicer, and this one, the main claim to fame is that this has a 3-inch wide feed chute. The feed chute on this guy, it's you know, a little bit smaller on it. If you guys can see that, comparing the feed chute size. So the feed chute size makes a difference in feeding the produce, although it can also, in my opinion, affect the yield. You know, some things, even though you have a small feed chute, need to be pre-cut to fit in the feed chute, but even this, because this has a wide feed chute, doesn't mean you could cram down or clog in anything that'll fit into the feed chute. So this is a vertical single auger, and how this one works is that instead of the auger running horizontally, it's running vertically or up and down. And this works in the same way. This auger is coming around, it's spinning around, and it's basically taking a piece of produce, chunks it off, and then basically the produce is crunched down, crushed and squeezed, and the juice comes out. The juice then runs through this juicing screen, which has a lot more surface area than the NC800, which in one level way is good because it might mean you're going to get a higher yield on certain produce items. It's not going to clog or jam as fast, but also means it's going to take longer to clean. So on cleaning time, the NC800, that guy takes me about 90 seconds to clean, and the MMV700 probably takes me between 4 and 5 minutes to clean. In addition, this has an automatic wiping blade, which I like a lot. It basically goes on the screen, so these little silicone blades act as windshield wipers for the juicing screen to help clean the screen as you're juicing and keep the juice flowing out. Finally, you have the main bowl on the MMV700. Let's see, this is a little more complex to clean. There's not as many nooks and crannies as that guy, but there's definitely more surface area. You have the spout coming out. There's no adjustment on this machine for adjusting the pulp as it comes out, so it just comes out at the preset interval. In addition, there's a little gear in here that sometimes things get stuck underneath, and that actually spin the wiping blade on there. This also has a nice spout cap that you can close so that when you're done juicing, you don't get drips on the counter, whereas this one will drip on the counter, so I recommend that you put the collection cup where you're collecting the pulp underneath, where the juice goes when you're done juicing. You'll see me kind of do that automatically. To assemble this guy, it's pretty easy. We're just going to go ahead and put the bowl on, and then we're going to take the wiping blade, put that into the screen. We're going to line up the red dot here with the red dot on front of the unit there. Then this will drop in, and then we're going to take the auger, drop that right in, spin it around, make sure it's fully seated, which I think it is. Oh, there we are. And then we're going to take the top housing, and there's a little red dot on the top housing. We're going to line that up with a red dot here, and then we're going to turn it to close. And if you assemble this correctly, you can turn this machine on. So as you can see, this machine, the MMV and the NC800, they're about the same volume. If I had to say one's a bit louder, maybe this one's a bit louder. This one I think has a 240 watt motor, and I forget what this guy's is like, 150 I believe. Yeah, 150 watt motor. So just because that motor has more or pulls more wattage does not mean it's necessarily stronger. It does mean it will consume more electricity. I find that both these machines have a properly paired motor to juice basically any fruit or vegetable that you're going to put into it. You know, one of the things I like that I pull out the NC800 for that I would never use in the vertical juicer is mature okra. So, you know, sometimes of the year I grow okra, and when the okra is mature, you know, it gets really hard and fibrous, probably the fibrous to the extreme if you ever tried to eat mature okra. And the NC800 is the only juicer that I use to juice mature okra that has a long fibrous stalks, because they'll just come right out. Likewise, people that want to juice medicinal cannabis, you know, leaves with maybe a little bit of the stem, not too much stem, because this is not meant for juicing stems. You could put that in here, and this will handle that fairly easily as well for you guys. So that's how they both work. That's kind of a summation. I guess the next step is we're going to come back with equal amounts of produce and juice in each machine so I can show you guys what happens. Alright, I'm back, and now I'm all ready to juice. We got organic spinach, organic cucumber, organic beet, organic apple, and organic ginger. We got even amounts of produce on both scales, so let's go ahead and do a weigh-in to make sure we have a fair fight. Alright, 2 scales, 2 bowls of produce. Over on scale 1 for the NC800, looks like we got 16 grams of produce. And over on the other scale for the MMV700, looks like we got 16 grams of produce. Just so we could see those both at the same time. 16 exactly precise amounts of produce for each juicer. Alright, so now we're ready to juice. Let's go ahead and maybe I'll juice in the MMV700 first, since that'll probably be a little bit easier. I'll have to do a little bit less cutting. I think the beets will still need to be pre-cut there. And we're going to time this for you guys, so you guys can see actually how long it takes. Alright, let's start with the MMV first. Let's go ahead and hit the start button, turn this machine on, and let's just start putting things into the juicer. So always first you want to put in something like the leafy green. You don't want to put those in last, and you want to rotate the different items that you're feeding in. They're not dropping in despite a large feed chute, so we will use a cucumber here to help kind of push those guys in to the machine. And we're going to basically just rotate the items as I put them in. Very important to watch a video I made called Juice Like a Pro in Any Vertical Slow Juicer. It's very important to follow my directions, or it may not work actually. So to save you guys time, I think I'm just going to feed things in handful by handful, piece by piece, and we'll speed this up for you guys to save you guys some time. Alright, so we're almost done juicing, and the MMV700 is basically gone without incident. And we got the last piece of beet going in there. Always on the MMV700, there will be some extra produce up at the top of the machine that does not go in. And actually that's one of the reasons why I'm not a big fan of the wide feed chute machines. Although you maybe could pre-cut less, sometimes there seems to be a lot of extra pulp in the feed chute top. But if you're willing to sacrifice, you know, maybe some yield for convenience, maybe this is the way to go. Anyways, it's pretty much done juicing, but after you put the last produce item in, you don't want to just turn the machine off immediately. You want to let it run a little bit before you turn it off. I think we're probably about good now. As you guys can see, that took approximately 4 minutes to juice all those items in the MMV700. It did catch quite a bit of the foam there. We're going to go ahead and turn that off. Next, we're going to go ahead and juice in the Omega NC800. A little bit different story on this one. Let's see, let's go ahead and move this stuff over here and move my thing over there. Likewise, I will need to pre-cut some of the produce to go in the NC800, and we're just going to rotate the items as I put in. Also, pre-cutting the ginger is necessary on any vertical juicer. Cutting it against the grain on the NC800, you can just put the whole ginger in there. Those ginger fibers are not going to stop this machine up. And we're going to set this unit to 5, so we have it, you know, we're going to get the highest yield basically. So we're going to hit start, and we're going to turn this on. And of course, you always want to start with your leafy greens first that conveniently I put on the bottom of the bowl. Now the NC800, unlike most verticals where you really shouldn't use the pusher too much because you can feed things too quickly, I do encourage you to use a pusher on the NC800. But then again, don't just like put stuff in and then cram, okay, it's empty, I can cram more in. Take your time, you know, and put things in at the juicer's pace, not your pace, even though I know you want to be done fast because you're late for work. All right, so I'm just going to rotate the different items that I put in, a little bit of each one at a time, and we're going to speed this up for you guys to save you guys some time, and we'll come back at you when I'm all done. Alright, we're just about done juicing the NC800. We're almost overflowing the juice catch cup, so I don't know if I should stop or not, or if I should just try to go to get it finished. And then we will be actually straining it out to compare apples to apples there. Once again, once you put the last produce item in, you want to let it run just a little bit. And once again, on this machine, we have a little bit of produce that did not get juiced. It's sitting up at the top here, and that's completely normal. And you want to let this run just another 30 seconds until the pulp stops flowing out and the juice stops dripping out there, which I think we're probably good. So we're going to go ahead and hit stop there. So you can see that took 6 minutes and 41 seconds. That basically took an extra 2 minutes, two and a half minutes or so to juice the equivalent amount of produce, and that's how the vertical juicers can save you time. Let's go ahead and turn this guy off, and then we're going to go ahead and lift this up, give him the last juice drips, and then I'm going to carefully move this guy underneath to catch any drips there. And now this guy is extremely full, so let's see how efficient I will be at pouring today. I know what I'm going to do is we're going to pour it in here to make it easier so I don't spill like super crazy. Alright, and then we're going to go ahead and we're going to pour that through here nice and easily. Alright, so we're just going to go ahead and shake down each of the sieves here. I think we've pretty much done straining down the Omega NC800. We barely got any drips left. And we're going to go ahead and strain out the MMV700 that's been sitting in there. And as you guys can see, we got a fair bit of foam on both. But if we look at this, you guys can see clearly the MMV700 produce a lot more foam than the NC800. This is why I recommend the NC800. If you're going to juice a lot of leafy greens, because especially the leafy greens tend to foam a lot more on the MMV. I can't see the amount of pulp in the MMV created, but to me it looks like it made more than the NC800. Alright, next for you guys, let's go ahead and compare how much juice each juicer made with a close-up shot. Alright, let's go ahead and do a close-up shot. Here's both of them. You guys could clearly see which one has more juice. It's the NC800. Looks like the NC800 made basically about 950 milliliters of juice right up to the line. Over on the MMV700 side, it looks like it maybe made, it's tough to say, I'd say maybe 900 because it has a little bit of foam on there. Maybe if we mixed up the foam it'd be a little bit more. But I mean, even the NC800 made a little bit of foam there. But definitely the NC800 won this by maybe, I don't know, 50 milliliters. Alright, so there you have it. You saw that the NC800 beat the MMV700. And, what does this mean? Well, this means if you want the most yield and you're juicing this exact recipe, then you're going to want to go with the NC800. Generally, I would think that on most things, depending on the recipe, the NC800 is going to be a little bit more efficient because it has this end cap. Of course, it will take you longer. So do you want, a higher yield, take a bit longer, or do you want an ease and use of convenience of not having to pre-cut things too much and have a faster juicing time? The option is up to you. now that you guys saw this video. The last thing I like to do in all my videos is taste test the juice. I don't know that there'll be any significant taste difference, although there is a lot of foam in there, and sometimes my sieve will let some pulp through the sieve, so that's what I'm going to check for. On the NC800, looks like this juice is fairly pulp free. That's a nice recipe. I got that ginger bite, a little bit of sweetness from the apple. Really nice recipe. I mean, that's a nice, clean, smooth juice, alright? MMV700 juice coming up. This one seems a little bit more thick, just pouring it. Wow. Now, I did make this one first, so it has been sitting a little bit, maybe like an extra 7 minutes. But this one, to me, tastes a bit more oxidized. I mean, I don't know, that's just my personal opinion. Take it for what it's worth. I'm going to say, I guess at the end of every video, I like to declare the winner of the juice off. And in this video juice off, I'm going to have to declare the winner of this one, the NC800. Not only did it make 50 more milliliters of juice, the machine also cost over $100 less than the MMV700. About the only thing that it didn't beat anything on is time savings when juicing. This will also save you time actually when cleaning. This one's going to take me 90 seconds. That guy's going to take me 4 minutes. So, you know, if you just add up the time, 6 minutes and 40 seconds plus 90 seconds versus, you know, 4 minutes plus 4 minutes to clean, it's almost like a wash, right? So, total juicing time. And this one also is a bit easier to clean. And if it's easier to clean, a juicer that's easier to clean will get you to do it because it's one less hurdle you have to take when you're juicing. This is the one you guys want to get, in my opinion, alright? And this is the one I would choose between these two machines. That being said, be sure to check out my other videos where I compare the NC800 to the Omega VSJ, which actually I prefer over the MMV700. I'll post a link down below for a video comparing the VSJ to the NC800 as well as the VSJ to the MMV right down below so you guys can check that out. If you guys like this video, hey, please be sure to give this video a thumbs up. Also be sure to share this with somebody that you may think it can help. Also be sure to support me and make your purchase at discountjuicers.com. This allows me to continue to make these videos, so I appreciate that a lot. And also be sure to click that subscribe button right down below so you don't miss out on my new upcoming episodes that are coming out about every 5 to 7 days. You never know where I'll share what we'll be learning or what new appliance I'll be juicing off on this channel. Make sure you click the little bell so you get notified as my new videos come out. And finally, be sure to check my past episodes. My past episodes are a wealth of knowledge. Over 500 episodes at this time comparing all the different major brand juicers and even vacuum blenders. Hopefully more to come really soon. So with that, my name is John Kohler with DiscountJuicers.com. Be sure to visit DiscountJuicers.com/YouTube for special promotional offers for YouTube visitors.